tactics. We're talking about the 10 proven ways to drive her wild. Using the triggers women can't resist, the kind that bypass the surface and go straight to the primal. And, yes, we're doing it with the unapologetic boldness of B.Preciado, a modern philosopher who dismantles the rules society told you to follow and rebuilds them to your advantage. B.Preciado doesn't talk about attraction the way dating coaches do. He talks about power, identity, and desire as forces that can be shaped by you. In this video, I'm going to break down 10 psychological triggers that make you unforgettable. To a woman, triggers rooted in human instinct, social dynamics, and that intoxicating edge that makes her think, I don't know what it is about him, but I want more. If you've ever felt like women lose interest too quickly, if you've been ignored after showing her kindness, if you've played it safe only to get friend-zoned, this is the wake-up call you've been waiting for. Get ready to hear some truths that might make you uncomfortable, because to truly become irresistible, you have to break free from the polite, predictable version of yourself society told you to be. We're about to take the scenic route through desire, with stops in dominance, mystery, and self-control. So lean in, because once you master these 10 triggers, she won't just notice you, she crave you. Asterisk, the first proven way to drive her wild is controlled distance. Not ghosting, not ignoring, but creating just enough space to make her feel the absence of your presence. In today's hyper-connected world, most men are available all the time, replying instantly, liking every photo, always initiating conversations. That constant accessibility kills mystery and destroys the thrill of pursuit. B. Philosophy teaches us that desire exists in the gap between wanting and having. If you eliminate the gap, you kill the desire. Controlled distance means you let her feel your presence when you choose, not when she demands. It's the art of being strategically unavailable, so her mind starts to fill in the blanks. This works because human attraction is fueled by anticipation. Think about it. The best part of a holiday is often the days leading up to it, when your mind is racing with excitement. Similarly, when you give her small doses of attention and then step back, you leave her anticipating your next move. And here's the key. Controlled distance isn't coldness. When you're with her, you're fully engaged, laughing, listening, making her feel seen. But then you retreat into your own life. This shows her you're not just sitting around waiting for her. You have a mission, a purpose, and she's part of your life, not the center of it. That subtle power shift triggers deep attraction. The second trigger is commanding presence without words, the ability to make her feel your energy before you even speak. This isn't about being loud or arrogant. It's about a kind of silent dominance. B.Preciado often challenges the idea that influence comes from verbal persuasion. Instead, he points to the unspoken signals, posture, pace, gaze that silently, BROADCAST, confidence. A man who enters a room with steady movements, shoulders relaxed, eyes calm and unhurried, communicates volumes before a single word leaves his mouth. Women are incredibly sensitive to these cues because they reveal what you really believe about yourself. If you walk in like you belong, without needing to prove it, she feels it. Your presence becomes an unspoken promise of stability, power, and control. Science backs this up. Studies in body language show that dominant nonverbal cues trigger heightened physiological responses in observers, even before conscious attraction kicks in. Her brain registers your presence as different from the rest of the noise in the room. Here's how to master it. Move with intention. No rushing, no fidgeting. Maintain eye contact longer than average, but not aggressively. Speak slower than you think you need to. Use pauses. Let the silence work for you. When your body language radiates calm self-assurance, it triggers her curiosity and respect. She'll want to know what kind of man moves through the world so unshaken, and that curiosity is the first step toward desire. Predictability is safe, but safe rarely drives anyone wild. If she can predict your every move, She'll feel secure, but she won't feel that electric charge of anticipation. The third proven trigger is the allure of unpredictability. This doesn't mean playing games or being unreliable. It means adding deliberate variation to your rhythm. Paul B.Preciado challenges the rigid rules of how we're supposed to behave, because those rules breed monotony. In attraction, monotony is death. Think of unpredictability like seasoning in food. Too much and it's chaotic, too little and it's bland. The right amount makes the taste linger. In relationships, unpredictability keeps her alert, curious, and slightly off balance in the best way. Here's how it works. Sometimes you initiate a deep, vulnerable conversation. Other times, you leave a question unanswered. Sometimes you surprise her with a spontaneous plan. Other times, you keep your schedule to yourself. This dynamic makes her mind constantly recalibrate, and that mental engagement is addictive. The science behind this is rooted in variable reward systems, the same psychological principle that makes people addicted to social media or gambling. When the timing and nature of a reward is unpredictable, the brain releases more dopamine than it would for a consistent, predictable reward. By breaking patterns just enough, you become impossible to categorize. You're not the always available nice guy or the distant cold guy. You're something rarer, a man who keeps her emotionally awake, and that keeps her hooked. A man who can't control himself will never truly control the dynamic. That's why the fourth proven trigger is mastery of self-control. Desire is magnified when it's not indulged instantly. B.Preciado often speaks about the power of resisting the systems and urges that try to dictate your behavior. In attraction, that translates to this. You show restraint not because you lack desire, but because you own it. You're in command of when, how, and whether that desire is expressed. This is especially potent because, in our instant gratification culture, most men rush to close the deal. They shower her with compliments, escalate too quickly, and try to get validation as soon as possible. This communicates neediness. Mastery of self-control flips the script. You can share a moment of intimacy, but you don't push it further just yet. You can compliment her beauty, but you do it sparingly, letting your actions speak louder. This makes her wonder, why isn't he chasing harder? Why isn't he rushing? And that curiosity turns into pursuit. There's also a primal factor here. Humans value what they have to earn. If she feels that your attention and affection are given too easily, they lose value. But if she senses that you could give her more, yet choose to wait, her attraction will intensify. Self-control is not suppression. It's channeling your energy strategically, so every moment with you feels intentional, not impulsive. That level of discipline sets you apart from almost every man she's ever met. The fifth proven trigger is strategic vulnerability, opening up just enough to connect deeply, but never in a way that drains your strength or mystique. Most men make one of two mistakes here. They either hide every emotion, becoming emotionally unreachable, or they overshare too soon, collapsing into emotional dependency. Both extremes kill attraction. B.Preciado's work on identity and self-expression shows that vulnerability, when intentional, is an act of power. It's not weakness to reveal something real about yourself. It's calculated openness. You decide what to share, when to share it, and how to frame it. For example, instead of dumping your struggles on her in a way that seeks pity, you might share a story about a challenge you overcame, the lessons you learned, and how it shaped the man you are now. You're revealing humanity without begging for comfort. Why does this drive her wild? Because vulnerability, when mixed with strength, creates depth. She sees the layers of your personality, the grit, the resilience, and the hidden softness that only those who earn your trust get to see. That contrast is intoxicating. Neuroscience explains it like this. When someone opens up to us selectively, our brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. But when that openness is paired with strength and boundaries, it doesn't lead to complacency. It deepens intrigue. The secret is balance. Too little vulnerability, and you seem detached. Too much, and you lose your edge. But strategic vulnerability, keep. Most men try to impress by showing everything too soon. They put all their cards on the table, thinking transparency equals attraction. The problem, once she's seen all your cards, there's no reason to keep playing. The sixth proven trigger is the subtle art of suggestion, planting ideas, hints, and emotional breadcrumbs that lead her imagination to do the heavy lifting. Paul B.Preciado often writes about how power isn't always about direct action. Sometimes it's about influence, suggestion, and the way you leave space for interpretation. In attraction, suggestion works because the mind is more engaged when it's actively filling in the gaps. This can be as simple as saying, "I'll tell you that story another time," with a sly smile, or giving her a look that carries more weight than words could. These moments let her mind wander, replay, and expand on what you've implied. Psychological studies show that anticipation often gives a stronger emotional charge than the actual event. When you leave certain things unsaid, you create a loop in her thoughts. She replays your words, your tone, your expression, looking for meaning. That replay builds attachment. The art here is balance. You don't hide everything, or become cryptic for no reason. You simply choose not to explain every detail, allowing the mystery to grow naturally. And when her mind starts working overtime to decode you, you're already living rent-free in her head. The seventh and final proven trigger is the most powerful of all, living a life she wants to be part of. Because no matter how magnetic you are in the moment, if your life is empty, she won't stay interested. B.Preciado's philosophy pushes us to reject the prepackaged identities society sells and to create a self-defined life. In attraction, this means you are already fulfilled, with or without her. You have passions, goals, and a mission that energizes you. You are the main character in your own story, and she's drawn to the storyline. Here's the truth. Women aren't just attracted to men. They're attracted to the world those men live in. If your life is rich with experiences, ambition, and purpose, being with you feels like stepping into a better reality. This also solves the clinginess problem automatically. When your schedule is full of things that matter to you, whether that's building a business, mastering a skill, traveling, training, you naturally avoid smothering her. You don't need to pretend to be busy. You are busy, and that's magnetic. It's not about faking status or flashing material wealth. It's about crafting a lifestyle so fulfilling that inviting her into it feels like giving her a backstage pass to something rare and exciting. That's the kind of energy no woman wants to walk away from. Ending, so there you have it. The 10 proven ways to drive her wild. Rooted in both timeless human psychology and the radical lens of Paul B.Preciado. Let's recap the core idea. Attraction isn't about chasing, begging, or performing tricks to get her attention. It's about becoming the kind of man whose presence pulls her in naturally. Controlled distance, commanding presence, unpredictability, self-control, strategic, vulnerability, suggestion, a life worth joining. These aren't surface-level tips. They're deep shifts in how you carry yourself. And remember, the most powerful trigger of all is self-respect. When you value yourself so deeply that you refuse to be reduced to anyone's backup plan, you flip the dynamic entirely. She starts chasing, investing, and proving herself worthy of your time. If you've been invisible in the past, it's because you blended in. The moment you step into your own authority, when you set the tone, live by your rules, and invite her to meet you there, you stop being just another option. You become the only one worth choosing. Now go out there and stop asking for attraction. Start creating it.